Greetings. Welcome to Chapter 3, Section 1. This is literally the 4th time I've recorded this and about the 5th time I've tried to upload stuff. I'm having a lot of computer problems today, this week, or since I've been trying to do this. So if I rush at a few spots, it might be just because I've been doing this so many times that I'm beginning to get a little bit frustrated with it. So my apologies. Please let me know if there's something that's not real clear, and we'll try to redo it or explain it a little bit better. So basically, the first thing we need to do is we need to ask the question, as you're doing this homework, you might be saying, how am I going to do all these symbols in a Word document? Well, the answer is you really can't at all times. Instead, what you need to do is you need to realize that, some of these, like the tilde, is simply on your keyboard. You can just find it. Just click the tilde. It's to the left of the 1. Usually you hit shift and then the letter to the left of the 1, and it's usually there, and it's pretty easy. The wedge of letter V, a lowercase v, will function as that. But like the dot, the triple bar, and the horseshoe are not as easy to find. So what I always recommend is, instead of dot, just use ampersand. Instead of triple bar, use equal. And instead of the horseshoe, just use the greater than symbol. That would be a simple way to replace it. If you did that, I would understand it. The other option is you can actually go, if you take your Word document, let me just pull this down. Usually there's a thing over here, under the Insert tab. If you come over, there's a symbol, and you can then come down here to More Symbols, and you can find the symbols you need. Like, I used the dot recently, so you can just insert that. Okay. You would need to find them within this, and there's usually a really long list of symbols, and so finding those is actually kind of a pain. You're not going to want to do it every time, but you can find them in here and use those. Let me just see if I see it real quick. There's Arabic, there's all kinds of dictionary symbolization. I'm not going to make you do it if that makes you feel a little bit better. But I am not finding it. I had it here earlier. I had a program for that spot, and I don't have it now. But anyway, you can go through this, and you should be able to find all of those in here. They're actually probably in a section like mathematical symbols or something of that nature. I'm just going to check one more time. Well, it's in there, trust me. I'm sorry if I mean, it is in there. It would just take you, usually it takes me about 10 minutes to find these things. And now I'm trying to do it in front of you in the video, and it just doesn't work. So one of the things you can think about is that you can do that, and then once you have those in, you can just hit Control-C, and anytime you want to use it, you could just do like I want to do triple bar, B. Well, then you could just paste it in with Control-V, and then just write the letter B. You could do that, or you could just put A equals B, or you can do the even simpler thing, which is do it all by hand, scan it, and send it to me. I'm sorry, I just did that off the screen. So you could just, like I said, you could type A, paste all the symbols in, put the letter B, and then just, delete until you get what you want. Or you could just write A equals B. Now, that's the key to doing that. Now, with all that said, the other thing you want to think about is we have this thing called well-formed formulas. And what exactly does that mean? Well, the issue here is, if you have in math, if you had a problem like 2 plus 4 divided by 8, that is going to mean something different if the equation is 2 plus 4 divided by 8 and it's like this, or if it's 2 plus 4 divided by 8. Because this equals 2.5 and this equals 0.75. Because this is 2 plus 4 is 6 divided by 8 makes 3/4. And this is 2 plus 4/8, or 1/2, so it's 2.5. And the same thing is true here. if you have these symbols are essentially showing the relationship. Actually, what we do is we know that wedge, dot, triple bar, and horseshoe all show relations, which means they go between statements and compound statements, just like mathematical symbols. They go between individual things or between things in parentheses. And so you need to have parentheses, brackets, other things to set up a hierarchy. And essentially what happens is these things show the relationship. Relational operators go between statements, simple statements or compound statements. A simple statement is something like just the letter A. A simple statement can be, a compound statement can be like, it could be tilde B, it could be B wedge C. Yeah. It could be really long things, it could be brackets A, or well, it could be that, and then wedge, bracket, C, sorry, we're just going to use these fake ones, triple bar, the, it could be a complex thing, it could be a lot of symbols, and basically that allows for that operator to go between them. Relational operators go between statements whether compound or single, and you can't have two relational operators in a row, and you can't have two relational operators in a statement in which you don't have some sort of parentheses. You can't do two in a row, meaning, let me just come up here and get these symbols back in my palette. You can't have two in a row, meaning you couldn't have B, dot wedge C. Doesn't make any sense. You would need either dot or wedge, and you can't do two of them in a row. You would need, like, you couldn't do wedge BX or S. You would need to somehow separate this out. Put these in parentheses or put these in parentheses. Tilde, on the other hand, is just a negation. That's all it does. It can be in front of individual letters, it can be in front of compound statements. When compound statements can go in front of something with a tilde. It can go in front of another tilde. It can go in front of parentheses. It can go in front of brackets. It always goes in front. It doesn't go after. It doesn't go between things. If it goes between them, there has to be another relational operator. It doesn't show a relationship. It just negates what follows. And you can have more than one tilde in a row. You can have things like tilde, tilde, B. That's fine. That's not a problem. You can have tilde, tilde, B. You could have just tilde, B. You could have tilde, 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 B. That's actually fine. Tildes just negate the thing after it. So this would be saying not B. Sorry, this would be saying not B. This would be saying not B. This would be saying not B. So on and so forth. And that's fine. So let's do a few of these problems. To begin with, well, I already have the answers here, but I'll just leave them here. This is the one. Well, because this here, tilde P, is just negating the letter P, the simple idea. And once you see that together, you can, if you want, you could change that to a lowercase letter like A. Lowercase letters can be used for simple statements, or compound statements, I'm sorry. And uppercase letters are just simple statements. And so then this would be saying A wedge R. Makes sense. So that actually is fine. The wedge is showing the relationship between these. The tilde is just simply negating that and making it not P or R. In this one, we have x dot y in parentheses. X dot y is fine. There's another symbol out here, so we're going to need the parentheses to separate it somehow. But the problem is there's nothing showing the relationship between these. We need something to show it. And as long as we don't have it, we don't know how P relates to it. It could be relating to it as a horseshoe. It could be relating to it as a dot. It could be relating to it as a wedge. We don't really know. And so we have to say that's not well formed. Number 3, A triple bar B horseshoe tilde S. Here we have tilde S. When you think about that, it's just a lowercase p. So B horseshoe P makes sense. And then we have triple bar A outside this, and that shows that relationship, so it makes sense. The only reason this is not well formed is because it opens with a bracket and closes with a parentheses. You need to keep those the same. As long as they're different, it's not well formed. Number 4, we have y wedge a in parentheses. Makes sense. And then the relationship between the stuff in parentheses to the stuff outside, we can think about this as just letter P. And W triple bar P. Makes sense. So this is well formed. Number 5, tilde R. Makes sense. And then horseshoe S. Makes sense. We have parentheses around it, and then we've negated the entire thing. And so there's nothing wrong with that. So there's just a few examples. You know, you can kind of follow the order, and I hope that makes sense. So if you have any questions, send them along. But there's at least a start on that. I'm going to do part 2 here in just a second. But before we do that, I need to separate the videos because this one will be too long if I don't. Thanks.